Hello everyone, welcome to Hands-on ICD-10 Coding Tutorial, Session 5, How to Code Neoplasm, Part 1. First, I will give you a summary of this session. So in this session, I will give you an overview of neoplasm coding. I will describe the steps of neoplasm coding. Also, I will show you how to do a neoplasm table lookup. We will also go through Neoplasm terminologies. And in this session, I will give you 4 coding examples. And finally, I will mention some codes related to neoplasm. The word neoplasm means new growth. So the synonym is tumor masses. So the word cancer means malignant neoplasm. All neoplasm codes are in Chapter 2. The code range is from C00 to D49. Under Chapter 2, there are several sections. Each section is corresponding to neoplasm in one organ system. For example, C15 to C26 are neoplasm for digestive organs. So under each section, there are different code categories. Each code category is one organ. Say, for example, C18 is the colon neoplasm. And then the third digit of the code will give you more specific body part. For example, C18.1 is the appendix neoplasm. So let's get to a book and take a look at the coding book. So in the online version, you go to browse ICD-10 CM book. So this is Chapter 2, Neoplasm, C00 to D49. So as we mentioned earlier, the section C15 to C26, that's malignant neoplasm of digestive organs. So if you click that, and then under this section, there are several code categories from C15 to C26. So we mentioned for column, that's C18. So if you click the arrow here, it will expand the concrete code for the different type of column cancer. So we have like the example we gave is C18.1. So that's malignant neoplasm of appendix. So next, we will describe the neoplasm coding step. So the step 1 is to go to the ICD-10 CM book, find the neoplasm table. And then second step is to do a table lookup by row. Each row is either main term or subterm. So for example, you can look for the main term lung. So for lung cancer, so you first find the main term lung in the row, and then under lung you will have lower lobe, which is the organ part. And then step 3 is to do table lookup by column. So there are 6 columns which correspond to 6 types of neoplasm. So you find the appropriate column, and then you actually, from the row and the column in the table, you get the neoplasm code. The final step, step 4, is to verify the neoplasm code by going back to ICD-10 CM tabular list. This is, I think you are familiar with it because we are doing this all the time for ICD-10 CM index of diseases lookup. So there's a note here, if step 1 to step 4 doesn't find the code, you actually go back to the ICD-10 CM index of diseases. So this is really important. Sometimes you cannot find a code in the neoplasm table. In that case, you go to the ICD-10 CM index of disease to find the code. So let's go through the first example. A 45-year-old female has cancer in right breast, lower outer quadrant. So you can pause the video here, just bring your book out and follow the 4 steps to see if you can find the code. So let's go to the coding book to see we can code this. So we go to ICD-10 find the ICD-10 Neoplasm table here. So breast started with B, and then you find the word breast, and then just click the link here. So we have find this is the main term, breast. So the code is C50.9, and then we have right breast, lower outer quadrant. So this is C50.5. The dash here means there you need more digits to specify the code. So let's click this C55.5 here. So immediately we find that you have to specify the gender. So in our case, it's female, so it's C50.51. So, but this is not the most specific code, because you have an arrow here, means it has more children here. So you just click here, and then we have right breast. So the code here is C50.511. So this is if you see the $sign here, that means the code is, billable code is the most specific code. So we have to look through the coding notes. Here, the notes just say this is a female, for a female, so it's C50.511. So also check the coding notes here from here. So you also, so we have use additional code hint here, so that we have coded another code to identify estrogen receptor status. Also, there's exclusive one note here, so you can either code skin of breast, C44 series, or you code C50, this code. So you code either one. You cannot code both because it's exclusive one. So anyway, we find the code to be C50.511. So this is the right code. So also, I have to mention that if the document doesn't mention it's primary, so we will assume it's a primary, the first type, a primary malignant. So as we see from the table, the Neoplasm table, there are 6 columns, which corresponds to the 6 types of neoplasm. The first type is the malignant primary neoplasm. The second type is malignant secondary neoplasm. And then third is the CA in situ or in situ. I don't know which one is the right pronunciation, but I prefer to situ, CA in situ. CA means cancer or carcinoma. The fourth type is the benign neoplasm. And then fifth type is neoplasm of uncertain behavior. And finally, the sixth type is neoplasm of unspecified behavior. So we will explain the what all those 6 types means here. So malignant means the malignant neoplasm formed from abnormal cells that divide without control. Often it will invade nearby tissues and spread to the other parts of the body. So this is called metastasis. So primary means it's the original site or point of origin for the neoplasm. Secondary means the metastatic. So the site is where malignancy has spread. So we have to identify two cases of documentation. Sometimes you will document metastatic from breast. In this case, breast is the primary site. Or you can have metastatic to brain. And then in this case, brain is the secondary. So pay attention to whether it's metastatic from or metastatic to. From is the primary site, and to is the secondary site. So benign neoplasm means the neoplasm can grow larger, but it does not invade surrounding tissues or spread. So this benign neoplasm can be treated with surgical removal. So there are some examples here for the benign or neoplasm, like adenoma. So this epithelial tissue tumor in a gland or organ. For example, colon polyp. That's a type of adenoma. And then you have fibroma, which is the connective tissue tumor. For example, uterine fibroid. And then you have the nevi. So any congenital anomaly of the skin, for example, mole. And then finally you have a lymphoma. That's a tumor made of fat cells. For example, adenolymphoma of the skin. So all those four terms here is the benign neoplasm. And for CA in situ, as I mentioned earlier, CA means cancer or carcinoma. So CA in situ range from D00 to D09. In situ here means confined, and neoplasm is not spread. So this in situ is an early stage of cancer in which the cancerous growth or tumor is still confined to the site from which it started and has not spread to surrounding tissue or other organs in the body. When cancer in situ involves cells that line the internal organs or epithelial cells, it's called carcinoma in situ. So as we mentioned, we have the fifth type is the neoplasm of uncertain behavior. That means the neoplasm behavior cannot be determined pathologically. There are two cases. So either the tumor shows features of both benign and malignant behavior, or the pathological documentations clearly indicate the behavior of the neoplasm cannot be identified. So in all those two cases, uncertain behavior, neoplasm. And then finally, we have neoplasm of unspecified behavior. In this case, the behavior is not stated, it's not documented. So there are also two cases. When the patient is transferred to a new facility without accompanying information about the nature of the neoplasm, or the patient is referred elsewhere for a definitive workup, or workup is not performed because of old age or poor condition. So those two cases means neoplasm is unspecified behavior. So the next coding example is 45-year-old woman found lump in her left breast, upper inner quadrant. So in this case, just remember that if we don't code neoplasm for mass, lump, or nodule. So we have to use the ICD-10 CM index to code the nodule. So let's go. So you can pause the video and find to see whether you can find a code for this coding example. So we have to go to not using the because we are not coding neoplasm. So we have to go to the index to diseases and injuries. So it's a lump. Let's do a search. Right breast. So it's right here. This is maintains a lump, and then we have right breast, and then it's upper inner quadrant. So the code is N63.12. So we can click this, go to the tabular list to verify this code. Make sure you read the coding notes related to this code. So the code for the coding example is N63.12. So it's unspecified lump in breast or nodules, NOS in breast. So as we mentioned earlier, the correct code is N63.22. So next we'll go through we'll code the third example. 50-year-old female is found with endometrioid carcinoma. So let's go to the follow the step. Go to the Neoplasm table, and then you search for endometrioid. So in this case, we couldn't find any code in the Neoplasm table. Or you can go to the E and then find endo. So we don't have the endometrioid term here. So in this case, we can't code from the Neoplasm table. So what do we do? So if we can't find the code in the Neoplasm table, so you have to go back to use the index to diseases and injuries. Go back to the ICD-10 book, not using the Neoplasm table. You use the index to diseases and injuries instead. So you can go, let's do that. So go to index of diseases and injuries. So, we look for, first we look for carcinoma. That's right. So this is the carcinoma. And then under carcinoma, you look for endometrioid. So we find it here. So in our case, it's a 50-year-old female. So the code is C56.9. So we go to the tabular list to verify this code. So again, the coding notes is saying it's a female code. And also you have to use an additional code to identify any functional activity. So we finished this example here. So let's go to next. So the correct code is C56.9. Let's go through the fourth example. Merkel cell tumor. So again, the first step is to go through the Neoplasm table. Merkel cell. Again, here you don't have a code in the Neoplasm table. So in this is, again, we have to go to the index to diseases and injuries. So here's a node, C carcinoma marker cell. So you go to the index. Merkel cell. So Merkel cell carcinoma. So that's the first code, C4A.9. So you click this code to go to the tabular list. So this is a Merkel cell carcinoma, unspecified. So again, if we can't find the code in a Neoplasm table, we have to use the index to diseases and injuries. So this is a final example, it's example 4. So the code answer is C4A.9. So finally, I just want to mention the code related to the neoplasm. So the first is neoplasm related to pain. So the code is G89.3. So how do you get that code? You can pull out your book. So go to index to the diseases, and then there's a pain. And then look for neoplasm. So neoplasm related. So the code is G89.3. So this code is also good for cancer-associated pain, pain due to malignancy, tumor-associated pain. Also make sure you read all the coding notes. Here there's a bunch of code also, and also you have exclusive one. That means you either code this generalized pain, NOS R52, or this cancer-related code, neoplasm-related pain. Or you have exclusive 2 means that all those pain, you can also, if you coded it neoplasm related code, you can also code the pain related to this, throat pain or etc. So finally, I just want to mention for breast cancer code C50. So you also need a code to identify estrogen receptor status. So which is Z17.0 for estrogen receptor positive status, and then or Z17.1, that's estrogen receptor negative status. So I think that's the end of this session. So neoplasm code. So in the next few sessions, I will talk more about the, give you more examples of how to code the neoplasm. Thank you very much for watching.